Gina is also a wonderful cook and loves to cook for the staff. Her last day before Christmas, holiday breakfast before the staff meetings become legendary and is envied by other staffs in our school division. Gina's faith is a priority in her personal and professional life. She continues to explore activities to explore her own faith by attending faith retreats such as Spice conferences and an active involvement in the division faith opportunities. I was very proud to nominate Gina for this award.
Okay, I would like to congratulate the certificates. They go wrong. So this is Excellent Catholic Education Award.
We'll have the good photographer here. Awesome, very nice.
And I was able to work with Gina on confirmation classes when we did that a few years ago, so congratulations. There's this. Okay, and this is a present. This is her 10-year.
No, that's for 10 years.
Is this just 10 year?
No, for Catholic
Thank
education.
you.
That one's for Catholic education.
This one's for Catholic. Don't give me a script.
Wait, so we're just gonna do one. I'll let you do that.
No, you can go there.
Yes, you're doing that.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
I received a text message.
Yeah, no, it streamed for like 6 seconds and then it. Good thing we got external watchers.
Well done.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming.
Good luck with the good deed.
Thank you. Okay. That's a fun, the fun part's over, guys. All right, the next is the approval of the minutes. Has everybody had a chance to look at them? And if so, can somebody move that they be passed?
I'll move the adoption of the minutes as presented.
Thank you. Yep. All in favor? Okay, and then agenda. Has everybody had a chance to look at it? Is there any additions or things that aren't in there? Okay, if not, can I get someone to move that? Deacon Robert? All in favor? Thank you. All right, board communications. We'll start with Catholic education. Deacon Robert, school parish relations committee.
Yeah, so the minutes to the meeting are, we got them in the agenda last minute. So you can review those. I'll just, on your own, but I'll just give some highlights. We met on March 2nd at Holy Family Parish. One of the objectives that we want to do for this committee is to build the committee, make it a little larger. So we invited, it's not just our parish priests, but we've invited some members of Holy Family Parish, and we have some members of St. Pat's that are coming on board. We would like to also extend an invitation to some school staff or school-based administrators. We don't want it overly large, but it would be good to expand the committee. So we were able to do that. So a large part of our meeting was kind of reviewing some of the things that we've done in the past. We had a number of old business items to review. And then as a matter of new business, we talked about school-sponsored masses, which we just had one Is that part of your report?
Go ahead.
Yeah, at St. Patrick's School sponsored the Mass this past Sunday at Holy Family, and I thought it was very successful. So we had an opportunity to talk with the priests about their how they felt, what they felt about them, and so it was a really good discussion. And we also talked about our faith plan, and then for the month of June, focusing on the Sacred Heart of Jesus. So so that's just kind of some of the highlights. But again, it's in the minutes so that you guys can read on your own.
Thanks, Robert. Any questions or comments? Okay, we'll move on to 8.2. Heather, religious education report. Any highlights that you want to?
A quick addition to the school parish relations, and just thank you to our priests. They've been going to all our schools celebrating reconciliation with our students, and also just saying if you want to come visit, come and visit. And all these little people are lining up in the hallway to spend time with them, which I think is really beautiful and speaks to the work of the school parish relationship, that they're really excited to see the priests. So that's been really great. So I just had one item, and I'm happy to answer any questions about that.
Is there any questions or comments? Go ahead.
I do, just due to my report, sort of. But one of our new members was Ken Lohendorf.
Oh, yeah.
Some of you know Ken, I'm sure. And he comes from Saskatchewan, and he was spent his life in Catholic education in Saskatchewan. And he was really, just from his perspective, looking in, he was really impressed with the relations that the schools and the parishes have. So I thought I'd share that.
All right. So we're at 9, board work plan, 9.1, boundary review and attendance areas. Mr. McPherson.
Perfect, thank you. So in accordance with the board work plan as well as AP 305, any changes to the boundaries and attendance areas need to be approved by March 31st. As previously discussed, there are no changes being proposed for the boundaries or the attendance areas. As such, senior administration does not have a motion for any changes.
Good, thank you. We will go on to the next one then, the 3-year capital plan and 10-year capital plan.
Perfect. So the 23 to 26 3-year capital plan is required to be submitted to Alberta Education by April 1st. And this is an annual process. Our existing capital plan was previously approved, and the #1 priority was the St. Francis School consolidation. And that has been awarded design funding, which will lead to a completed design and the documents ready for tender issuance. The next stage will be for construction funding to be awarded by the minister. We are proposing that Medicine Hat Catholic continue with the existing capital plan throughout the design process, and as such, the existing capital plan should be reapproved for submission to the ministry. So the motion that is being proposed is, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees for the Medicine Hat Catholic Board of Education approve the 2023 to 2026 3-year capital plan as presented.
Any discussion on that matter? Robert?
Yeah, so I'm in favor of the motion. We did get our ask for for our formal request for the capital plan. What I'd like to see in the future, though, is that prior to this motion, that we have, a meeting of the board to discuss formally the capital plan overall for the division. And I realize this is kind of an anomaly this year with all that, but if we could do that in the future. Maybe we've done that in the past, but it's all kind of a blur.
we have, one of the discussions that Dwayne and I had was about starting a process probably in September about what a new capital plan is going to look like, and using a consultant, probably FWBA, to help guide that process. And
Yeah.
come up with what the board's new needs, new requirements and desires are.
Yeah, that's excellent.
Yeah, this year it was just for kind of agreeing somewhere to just
Yeah.
put it forward.
And this, I mean, if you look at our division, this would be naturally our number one priority, right? So I'm in favor of the motion.
Okay, so then can I get someone
I'll
to,
move it because I'm in favor.
Deacon Robert, and all in favor? Okay, 9.3.
Madam Chair, before you move
Oh,
on,
sorry.
I would just like to go on record and thank Greg and Dwayne for putting together that capital plan that has recently been approved. I know that it came at kind of the last minute. It was a big change from what we had before. And the comments from the minister's office was that it was an excellent proposal, and which has resulted in it being approved. So I want to extend my thanks to Greg and to Dwayne for putting together that proposal. A lesser proposal may not have been approved.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
And thank you, guys. We're pretty lucky here. Okay, 9.3, school fees. Mr. McPherson.
Thank you. The board work plan has the school fees to be approved by March 2023 for the upcoming year. The fees largely remain the same, and any changes have been noted on the attachment. So the recommendation is, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees for the Medicine Hat Catholic Board of Education approve the 2023 fees as presented. The document that is attached was put together by the Assistant Secretary Treasurer after consultation with the school principals on what the needs are for changes for the upcoming year. The fees have been itemized by school, both with the current fee as well as the proposed fee for the upcoming year. And where there are changes, there has been notes made to identify what those changes are and the rationale. So if there's any questions, I can try to answer
Mr.
them.
Leahy?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to the Secretary Treasurer for clarification. Earlier in the year, I had asked for clarification about the graduation ceremony activity fee in the McCoy handbook. It said that wasn't waivable. Has that been corrected?
I've been in contact with the principal. I haven't received confirmation that has been adjusted as of yet, but it is on my follow-up list.
But it is going to be waivable. Like, there's no question about that, correct? Because,
According to our AP, that needs to be waived,
okay, thank you.
or waivable.
Okay, thank you. And then just an interest on Notre Dame. I'm seeing a basketball development. So I'm just curious what that is, and I'm not expecting you to know, but if you could get back to me on what that means. Is that like an after school thing or whatever? And then also for Notre Dame, and I'm just curious to know, student wear, optional team wear, new fee. To cover the cost of optional student wear covered at discretion of parents and students for those not included in team wear. So I just need to understand, after we approve this, what that means. Does that mean, like, if I'm not on the baseball team, no, that's not a good example. If I'm not on the basketball team, I could order spirit wear that was very similar to what the basketball team had?
So that would be my understanding. However, I'll get absolute confirmation.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions on the fees? Okay, if I can get someone to make this motion. Mr. Kinch? All in favor? All right, information items. Strategic priorities update, Dr. Zirichi.
The strategic priorities update is attached, and I'm certainly prepared to answer any questions or any of the other senior administrators who contributed to the report. We will be engaging in goal development for our new, for the education plan that's due in May. However, as the board is aware, there are a number of groups now that are involved in the process. And so, for example, with our first priority, we'll be developing a jurisdictional phase plan that students, trustees, the bishop will all have a hand in developing. Consolidation project, Alberta Education will be establishing timelines for us and the majority of our goals now with respect to consolidation. Quality teaching and learning, we have, of course, new curriculum coming in. We still have our mental health initiatives and then that are structuring with our student services department as well. And then health and wellness also has a committee that's been working on goals for the jurisdiction. But we would like to, as much as we can, for the April meeting, provide the board with an update of what the draft goals will be. And that will still give you an opportunity then to comment and make recommendations prior to the plan being created in May.
Okay, any questions? Comments?
Good job.
Good job, great.
As always, yeah.
10.2 then we'll go on to learning services grants update. Hugh?
Thanks, just an update on a couple of grants we've been awarded. Any questions?
Go ahead.
I was curious, Mr. Lair, about the physical education and wellness support teacher. And so I applaud that hiring. I think it's excellent. And I understand the ISS. How do you see that individual having the time to work with other teachers in order to build capacity for the new curriculum at other schools?
We're going to build that into a schedule, so they'll have a day or afternoons off where he can go to the other elementary schools to work with those teachers.
Super. Thank you very much.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, we'll move on to communication report.
Thank you.
Ms. Knight.
My report is attached, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
I'm always happy to see when we're out in the community and that kind of stuff on here.
There's lots this month.
Yeah, there was lots. That's good. Any other comments? Go ahead.
While she's here, I want to thank Samantha for the excellent job, not only in our division, Samantha, but the other division as well. The stories you do about science fair and all that. I think it helps really show the strength of the education program throughout the city of Medicine Hat and all our choices that we have. So I just want to thank you for the great job you do.
I guess I have a question.
Go ahead.
It's on in regards to the analytics. I'm just have the Instagram analytics open. It has the last one is 11K impressions. What is that? What is impressions?
So impression was basically like, from my understanding, any form of engagement. So
Okay.
whether that be it shows up on your feed and you like it or you share it, or basically just like any,
Response to.
yeah,
Okay.
essentially,
All right,
yeah.
great, thank you.
Yeah, that's lots.
Well, it's up 19%, almost 20%, so that's good.
Yeah, and I think it's even if they don't engage, it's still showing up on their
Mhm.
feed, which doesn't mean they don't like it. There's tons of things I see that I don't engage with, so
Yeah,
it's kind of interesting to see.
It has to be viewed.
So it's kind of interesting.
It has to be viewed.
Mhm.
Great, thanks, Fiona. Action and discussion items, the first one, 11.1. We have a, what is it called, senior administration contracts that we have spoken about and have sort of decided. David?
So, Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion with the wording that is exactly the same as the recommendation.
Okay, Dwayne said that when he presented this in the committee of the whole, we forgot to add that this would be effective April 1st.
Okay, so, if Mrs. Lippert could add that sentence to the end of the recommendation.
You betcha.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or discussion on that? All right, I will just ask the question, who's in favor? Unanimous. Okay, the next one is 11.2, Sports Academy Programming at Monsignor McCoy, and this is Mr. Leahy. This is from last meeting. This was a
Noticeable.
notice of motion. There's a lot of stuff in here.
There is.
Yeah. Do you want to just speak to it, David?
Yeah, I'm not going to read the motion.
No.
Okay, so, when I decided to run for a trustee, one of the parts of my platform was the articulation of specific specialized district program to all levels, all grade levels. So for instance, we have at St. Michael's, a fine arts focused school. We have at St. Mary's a fine arts academy. Ideally, we would have, and we do have the basis, I think, for a very strong fine arts program at Monsignor McCoy, and I know they're working to make it even better. We had a sports program at Notre Dame. The board asked for a review. There was a strong hint in there that we should start a elementary sports focus program, and that was done at St. Francis Xavier School. There is some special sports programming at Monsignor McCoy. We started French immersion at St. Mary's. It went to, and then it left, in sense of that program, left the school. There's French immersion in junior high, and we have French immersion at McCoy. So I think it's time that we considered expanding our sports programming into Monsignor McCoy in a major way so that there's more options for kids. And I worded this in such a way that I didn't want to dictate what that programming is, just that I wanted there to be an effort from administration and the school and the staff and parents and even students to find out, okay, what is the interest level? What are the desires and what can we accomplish in that regard? I know sometimes I've had conversation with folks who express concern about a top-down implementation of such programming. All of the programming I just reviewed in our district was initiated from the top down. Dr. Glashan and the board at that time started the fine arts focus with Mrs. Judge it was with Mr. Butcher at St. Michael's. All the special programming we have in the district was initiated in this room or from administration. Dr. Tatro started French immersion at St. Mary's. Dr. Tatro told me when I went to St. Mary's, I was going to start a fine arts academy. I didn't have a choice. I was told I was going to do it. It was a decision of the board and Dr. Tatro that Notre Dame would have a sports academy, and we often forget about it. And it was supposed to have a technology focus too. The technology has kind of gone away over the years, and it's what, 80% of the students who go there now are attending a sports academy? 70 or 80%?
Close to 90.
Close to 90? Okay. So I don't have a problem in asking as a board member that the administration in the schools, especially McCoy in this instance, explore this kind of programming. I think that there's a real opportunity here to provide our students something in the area of wellness and in sports that can have a real impact in their lives, and also can encourage teachers and students and staff and the administration to be really creative in how this might play. And it also might fit in well with opportunities that might be created with the wellness space that we are hoping to build as part of this project that just got approved recently by the government. So I hope I can get the support of other trustees for this initiative, at least to be explored. Thank you.
Thanks, David. And I think this is really timely with the design money coming in, and we're looking at what we want to design in those areas that this is the time to do it. So I'm very much in favor of this. Does anybody else have any comments? Deacon Robert? Sorry, Bernie? Go ahead.
Chair, in listening to Trustee Leahy, I'm in support of it because he's suggesting it's an exploration and not a direction.
Right.
And in that regard, I can fully support it. My only concern is it does have some impact on other offerings that are presented at McCoy.
Mm-hmm.
And it also does affect staffing and whether we indeed have the staff that would be capable of running some of these academies. But in general, yes, I'm fully supportive of this.
Okay, so you have proposed this, right, Mr. Leahy?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all in favor?
This is the longest motion I've ever seen.
I'm not going to comment.
I could try and do better next time,
No,
i.e. by adding more on.
I think it's needed though, because you're exploring not.
My purpose was to encourage administration to, whoever's involved, there's a wide net here to look at. I didn't want to put a box around
No,
it.
and it shouldn't have at this point. All right, 11.3 is an amendment to board policy 2. I hope everybody's had a chance to look at that. David, would you like to speak to this?
Me again, Madam Chair, and the purpose of this motion is I think it just reflects the reality of what we do now. And so, to me, it's just house cleaning.
Okay, any other comments or reflections on it, on this motion? Okay, all in favor?
Sorry, can I just clarify, does this need more than one reading to make a change to a policy?
Oh,
Can we just amend to say for the first reading?
This is for the first reading.
This is for the first reading, okay. And can we do 2 readings now, or do
We can do 2.
we can do 2, right? Okay,
So, Madam Chair, I'd like to ask that this motion be read a second time, please.
okay. Okay, all in favor of the second motion?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chelsea. All All right, committee reports. Yep, we can.
And it'll be, I can speak to it.
All right, we've been asked to circle back to the religious education report.
So in the religious education report, there was a request for $10,000 to be used for the SPICE conference. That money, the proposal would be coming from the international ed fees that are assigned to international ed. So what I would like to do is get a motion allowing for the $10,000 to be used to supplement the religious education budget for $10,000.
And I'd just like to speak to that. I talked to Heather about this, and there's a lot more interest in people going to the SPICE conference and those types of things. And I think that only speaks well of our district and of Heather, and how we're promoting faith life, and people trying to, for lack of better words, fill up their cup so that they can give that to kids. So I'm very much in favor of this. So if somebody would like to make a motion that we can, because that money's already there, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's not like we're, go ahead,
I'll make that motion,
make a
Chair.
motion, okay? Mr. Kinch? You're good with it?
Yes, can you just maybe say that one more time, Greg, for your wording there? Sorry, I can't.
That the Board of Trustees for the Medicine Hat Catholic Board of Education authorized the transfer of $10,000 from the International Education Funds earmarked for religious education to the religious education budget for SPICE fees for staff to attend.
Okay, so Mr. Kinch has moved that. All in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll go down to the committee reports. I have read that too and forgot all about it. Sorry, Heather.
Oh, that's fine, that's great.
Okay, 12.1, Alberta Teachers ATA negotiations, Mr. Mastel.
Madam Chair, nothing has happened negotiation-wise since we met with the ATA before Christmas. There was a request sent out a couple of days ago looking for a suitable date. There were a number, probably 8 or 10 different choices, and doing a survey as to who was available and when. There has not been a decision made yet, but these are going into as late as May.
Okay.
So there's nothing new to report from that.
Okay, thank you. 12.2, Deacon Robert,
Nothing to report.
keep you know. 12.3, Mr. Kinch, teacher board advisory.
Chair, we met on the first, a number of items were presented by the teachers. I think they were all addressed as best they could be. I suspect the largest concern that was presented was liability for teachers in moving physical items, whether it's for track and field or theatrical productions, et cetera, and just how much liability does the division take on, and how much liability does the teacher carry? And I think that was really probably the biggest concern that was presented. And there was going to be some research done with our insurance company, and then that information would be distributed to the teachers.
One of the things that most likely will come out of it will be, in particular, for teachers that are shared between two schools who have to travel, or teachers that use their vehicles for school events, that will require them to have an enhanced automobile policy, like and then
Business insurance.
Yeah, and business insurance, and then we'll pay the differential. Well, so they'll have to incur the cost, and then we'll refund them the difference, so that it's not expensive. But this way, there's no question, of their coverage if they were to get into a car accident.
I know at one time we had to have if you were transporting students, you had to have a certain, I think it was 2 million, something like that. Yeah.
But more importantly, Madam Chair, to the amount, and that is important, but more importantly, is that the exposure of carrying students is covered by the policy. You have to ensure that first before you talk about, I need $2 million limit or $5 million limit. So those are, the primary thing is to ensure that that activity is covered under the policy.
I just know when I worked at St. Louis, I had to up my insurance because sometimes I would transport students from school to school.
So that's,
Yep, go ahead.
so that's an interesting point. What I hear you saying, Mr. Mastel, is you just shouldn't increase the limit. You should also make sure that language is added to the policy. Am I correct? Because frankly, when I was a teacher, I did the one, but I didn't do the other.
Well, the need to do that kind of thing has increased over time. When I did a student placement at Riverside School in 1969, I transported kids back and forth to Elkwater, took them on a car trip through the park. I was 19 years old and no extra insurance. But you can't do that anymore. So it's evolved over time. But you're right, you have to ensure that the activity is covered and then covered to the liability limit that the division or whatever establishes.
I didn't know, I don't know if mine was or not. I went to my insurance company and told them what I was doing and why I needed it, but whether they included the language, I have no idea.
Well, if you've advised your broker, knowledge that the broker has is deemed to be knowledge that the insurer has.
Okay.
So if you've notified him, that's notifying the company. You don't have to notify the company yourself. That's the broker's responsibility.
I guess I did it. Okay, where am I at here? Support Staff Board Advisory, Stephen Robert.
Nothing to report.
Okay, QP Support Staff Advisory, Mr. Leahy.
Nothing to report. I think our next meeting is in May. And we have another meeting scheduled for the end of the year.
Yes.
Okay, Student Board Advisory Committee, we haven't met.
We will now, we have Nick with us.
Okay. Next month. All right, Audit Committee. I don't know anything about it, so it's up to you.
No report.
No report. Okay. Division Consolidation Planning, Dr. Zarichny.
We're awaiting the letter from the minister. I'll be meeting with our fundraising consultant to reset the parameters and have that discussion, and then shortly after that, we'll call the committee meeting to start the process.
Perfect, thank you. Mr. Mastel, ASBA.
Zone 6. As I indicated at the February meeting, I was unable to attend the meeting. The next day I was in Saskatchewan on business that day. So I was unable to attend, so I don't have a report. The next meeting is tomorrow in Lethbridge.
Okay. Is that in person or do you?
Well, it's a hybrid meeting. We can
Okay.
go either way. I'm planning to be there in person.
Okay. Okay, ACSTA. I met actually yesterday afternoon with the symposium committee, that part of the ACSTA. And the symposium was supposed to be in October, but because all the bishops are out of the country in October, it won't be till next February, so we have more time to. But it's sounding like it's going to be kind of really exciting. It's going to be on faith development for teachers. Like, how can we encourage faith development for teachers? So that symposium, they're looking for speakers right now. So if you guys have any suggestions, I can pass them on, because nothing has been decided yet. And I'm really looking forward to it. Dean Sarnecki is the head of that committee and is really working hard with putting that together and really finding some really good quality people who can be in charge of that symposium. So really excited about that. All right, Mr. Kinch. Oh,
Just
sorry.
one other point, Madam Chair. I want to advise the board that Michelle Collette, who was formerly with the ACSTA for 29 years and left kind of unexpectedly about a year and a half ago to go to Edmonton Catholic, has returned to the ACSTA. I spoke to her briefly yesterday morning after I got the email from the executive director, and she's thrilled to be back. The whole staff is thrilled to have her back. Michelle is an expert in planning events like the ACSTA convention, Spice and Blueprint. She's been doing it for 29 years and is an expert. She has all the contacts and is able to do that.
I think she was involved in the last symposium.
Was she? Likely. So I want to advise the board that Michelle is back and she's very excited to be back. So.
And that just speaks to how well the ACSTA is doing.
Yeah, it's, yes.
Yes, yes. Yeah, it's a fun thing to be a part of. Okay, Parent Association, that's me, and we will meet, I think this month, right? This month coming up, the end of this month? I think it's the end of this month that we're going to meet. We haven't met since we last met, so. Tiba, Mr. Mansell?
Thanks, Madam Chair. The last meeting was on February 22nd. It was rather a short meeting. They usually schedule for a couple of hours. This one was done in less than an hour. They advised us that the next round of bargaining has already begun. There was a reminder that TIBA is not the employer, but rather negotiates on behalf of employers. We all know that. It's a reminder that is their position. TIBA has also circulated a teacher collective bargaining survey, which runs ahead of the bargaining cycle. Greg, are you familiar, Dwayne, are you familiar with that survey?
Yes.
Yes? That was kind of a weak yes.
It's been passed to our HR department.
Oh, okay. Well, the information that is gathered through that survey is done on an aggregate basis. There are no individual boards that are identified with the information, and we were advised that the information that is gathered from that survey feeds into national and even international statistics and trends. So it's rather important that we get that done. In terms of local bargaining, they reported that little progress has happened provincially with bargaining. And they also mentioned that some of the bargaining agents have changed. And there was also a training program for negotiators. The first cohort was in January. And it was a relatively small group that they were doing. The next meeting is scheduled for March the 21st, rather, and I will be away for that meeting as well.
Okay, I missed you, Mr. Kinch, on Education Foundation. Sorry,
Thank you.
I talked about ACSDA and then I crossed you out. Sorry.
We haven't met since our last meeting, but we do have a meeting of a subcommittee of grants, a committee on Thursday.
Okay. Good, thanks. That was never meant to do that. Okay, I think we're done. I can't believe it. So we have a closing prayer. Would you like to speak to that?
Well, I can do that. I think Chelsea's going to try to pull it up for us. So upon motion from the board, each school has created their own school prayer. And then we decided on having, using that as our closing prayer, so we can share those with you. And this is St. Michael's.
Oh, this is the one that's on, yeah. Very nice.
Well done.
Yeah, they did really well. Okay, I can't believe it, we're done. This is an adjournment.
World record.
I think so.
I wish I would have done 2 chapters.
Could have.
Yeah, you might.
Wow, this does not usually happen yet.